tasteless comedy. It's a choice of a new generation. So hold on to your hats and let's go.
The first of 4 nightly shows this week, and I'm trying to find a word to sum up the mood of the moment, and the only word I can come up with is panic. Britain lies in the grip of panic, mostly caused by the fact that the government's chief medical officer says SARS will be fine. Panic also amongst teachers today as a contract to rescue Britain's failing schools goes to Jarvis, an engineering company, which is a bit like asking David Blunkett to be an invigilator. Jarvis said that the Potters Bar train crash was the result of sabotage, quite possibly by school children, so perhaps this is a revenge attack. Panic also in Washington because the Americans still haven't found Saddam Hussein. The main reason they haven't found him is because most Americans haven't heard of Saddam Hussein because he's foreign, and they haven't asked George Galloway where he is yet. There's panic in Iraq, where Islamic fundamentalism is on the rise. Again, the Americans are doing their best to calm things down by imposing their own caretaker religion. It's a blend of Christianity and Islam called Chrislam, which retains the basic concept of Allah, but replaces the Prophet Muhammad with a retired American general. So, to sum up, the world today is filled with fear, disease and people wearing masks. A bit like Euro Disney. So, let's start with SARS and go through the government's advice on how to face down the SARS menace. 1. Breathe out but don't breathe in. 2. Avoid SARS. 3. Encourage old people to die to free up valuable trolley space. 4. Don't breathe out either. 5. Stock up on tinned air. 6. Work underwater. 7. Don't panic, because if you panic you'll spread SARS and cause everyone to die. And 8. Stand behind France.
This town is sharply divided between Sunni and Shia.
Well, throughout tonight's show I'm going to be joined by comedian and novelist Dominic Holland. Hello. Dominic, are you all right? How are you? Are you affected by SARS at all?
Absolutely not. It's complete nonsense, isn't it? It's not even dangerous, is it? I mean, it's more... Actually, your little list of the things to avoid... Liam Donaldson said, be vigilant.
He's the chief medical officer.
I mean, these are germs.
Yeah.
How vigilant can you be? I mean, you can never spot bombs, let alone germs.
I never actually thought germs were big enough to be trapped by gauze. Anyway.
That's the thing. I mean, wouldn't it be ironic if Michael Jackson got it, because he's worn masks for years?
Yeah. China is a very mask-orientated country. Chinese theatre is all about masks. And Toronto, ice hockey.
Well, the thing is, actually, influenza kills more people than SARS, right?
Yes.
And you phone up work trying to bunk off with flu.
Yeah.
People think you're a dosser.
Yeah.
Right? You phone up with SARS, like, take the month off.
But they're having a massive conference in Toronto on SARS. Who's going to go? Enormous building with a gauze mask in front of it.
Just the mayor of Toronto, coughing.
He's very annoyed. He's very annoyed that the World Health Organization said don't go to Toronto. I saw him on the telly the other day and he was fuming. He had a vein was throbbing there.
Yeah.
Red cheeks.
Because let's face it, Toronto is an absolute tourist mecca.
Now, I've just realised those are the first 2 symptoms of SARS, by the way. And I'm just thinking, if masks could stop sort of airborne particles, why didn't they introduce masks during the foot and mouth epidemic?
Because that was got by cows.
Yeah. Well, you can put a mask on a cow.
Have you ever tried to put a mask on a cow?
Well, I've never tried burning 15 million cows. No. Sorry,
Good
wrong.
point.
I do remember once I did. It's very tricky. Tooth mask, so it wouldn't have put tourists off.
It's touching, though. That's how you get SARS, apparently. Right. It's touching. And apparently, if you leave a toilet, you're supposed to open the door by using your jumper.
All right.
But I do that anyway. Waterloo toilets, I've not touched that door in my life.
I always piss through my jumper. Anyway, we really want to talk about Iraq. That's the main...
Has that been in the news?
Well, it was.
A tad.
It's been superseded by SARS. The thing about Iraq is at the moment they can't find Saddam's weapons of mass destruction. Bush has asked for more time. though if after 12 years the US still haven't found them, then George Bush is going to say this game of cat and mouse can't go on any longer and order his forces in to bomb the Americans. So the other question, first of all, is where is Saddam? Some people say he's still alive. I think he died within the first days of the war, because if you look at the footage of his broadcast during the war, you can see that he's clearly dead. He's got men under him working his arms with sticks. There he goes. But the problem with the weapons of mass destruction is the Americans are getting increasingly desperate trying to identify what these weapons of mass destruction are. So now anything goes. I mean, they've taken in the Chemical Brothers. Questioning. They haven't found any WMD, but they've arrested the band OMD. Yeah. And they've actually issued troops, American forces, with these cards. I don't know if you saw, they brought out playing cards of all the Iraqi leaders that they wanted arrested. They've now come up with a playing cards containing 52 types of WMD that they're after. And you can see they're getting increasingly desperate because the cards say weapons of mass destruction, look out for those. Weapons of minor destruction. Weapons of Miss Dynamite. Wine of mass destruction. The wedding of Michael Douglas. Wash my dad. Well-hung men digging. Wombles making dinner. Whatever's on mumbly-dum-de-dum. You can see they're running out of ideas. Whoosh, Moby-Dup-Dup. And whatever might do.
And reports are coming in that Saddam may be hiding in a giant hen. The news is very confused at the moment.
I'm joined now by Nick Wilty. We were going to talk to you because, as well as being a comedian, you used to be a soldier.
That's
so
right, yeah.
Interesting to hear your views on Iraq. But I gather you've had some experience with SARS.
Yeah, I was in Shanghai when it all kicked off.
Why did you choose to be there?
I didn't choose to be there. I was there when it started, or maybe I took it in, I don't know. I'm sure it's ironic that I arrived there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So you were there, go on then.
I was out, and you had to be really, really careful. I mean, I couldn't look any doorknobs. If you're in a lift or something like that, you just couldn't rub your genitals against the buttons. It was just... you just had to be very, very careful.
OK. Where do you have any opinions on where Saddam's weapons of mass destruction might be?
I think they're going to appear out of some American general's coat.
Well, they'll find them in North Korea. And that's because they're not Saddam's, they're North Korea's.
Yeah. And then what are they going to issue out there for all the Koreans who never...
Oh, what, instead of the playing cards?
Instead of the playing cards, yeah, like a mahjong set or something.
Yes.
Or a number set.
A number
like
set.
each one coincides with something on a menu.
Yeah.
Or, as it's Korea, dog collars. That could be it, couldn't it?
Oh, here we go. They could put all these Korean terrorists on Yahtzee, and then they'd be looking for Yahtzee war criminals. Sorry, bad puns is one of the symptoms of SARS.
I do like your gas mask.
Oh, thanks very much.
It really suits you, and it goes really well with the shape of your face. It's just the whole cuff. Yeah, if you just adjust there, you see that.
Oh, thank you.
Is that better?
Nice.
OK, I want to talk about the IRA now. There's still no breakthrough in the Northern Ireland talks. The IRA still haven't given a clear commitment that they're going to give up all their weapons. Although Tony Blair thinks he can still fix it, that's another example of Blair's interminable optimism. I mean, he's probably the sort of person who thinks that you can cure cancer by putting doctors and cancer cells in the same room and saying, look, I know you lot have had your differences in the past, but surely you can come to some sort of agreement now. And they do come up with a compromise where doctors cure lung and stomach cancer, but cancer's still allowed to run riot in the testicles. So,
I didn't quite get that.
Well, do you think that...
It's an intractable problem, isn't it, Ireland?
Yeah.
And will always will be, because one side wants a united Ireland, the other side want to be part of Britain. So.
Yeah, so how do you solve something that there is no middle way? What do you do?
Have partitioning like you do in those posh flats.
They could do it like split level, couldn't they?
Are you talking about a bunk island?
Yeah, bunk island. Yeah, that's what you could do.
But then there'd be a fight about who gets to go on top.
Ah, that's true. Yeah, but the ones who live on the bottom get access to the garden, which...
That's true.
Yes.
Okay, so how can they sort of update their image then? Because clearly Al Qaeda has overtaken them in terms of... I mean, if you look at the Sunday Times yesterday published the list of the 1,000 hardest terrorist organisations, and if you look at the first 6 on the list here, you can see number 1 is Al Qaeda, then it's Hamas, Dukes of Hazzard, Jarvis, I don't know whether that's Cocker or the train company, John Prescott, and then at number 6 the IRA. So they are a bit old hat or old balaclava.
I wouldn't want to be on television slagging off the IRA. To be perfectly honest, I think, you know, not saying they're top blokes, but hey, let them do what they've got to do, you know. I've got 3 kids. But I mean, you're suggesting that they're sort of not serious terrorists, and I'm just suggesting that I can walk properly with these knees, and I'm happy with that.
I'm not suggesting they're not serious terrorists. I'm just suggesting that they're rubbish terrorists.
You're a braver man than me. I'll give you Armando's postcode.
When you take us over, you stand back and look at the whole...
People won't tolerate terrorism anymore, though, I think.
No, that's it.
But it's in September.
It's pointless for them to do it in a traditional way. Have suicide bombs and yet tip off the people that they're going to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you just get Woolworths blowing up and only the bombers die.
What do you mean, because he's the only bloke in Woolworths?
Well, no, because they tip them off. The IRA have a dignity.
Wouldn't that be a shame to lose that much pick and mix?
So don't call them mix, they don't like that.
So do you... Welcome back, and something that appears to be the flavour of the month at the moment is nudity and our rather confused attitude to it. There was nudity at the opening of the Saatchi Gallery, at Selfridges yesterday, and at a play in London. Outrageous. Britain has gone genitals mad. Are you outraged by nudity? Have you ever... would you have taken part in the photo shoot at Selfridges?
I'd like to have gone to see it being done.
Right.
Actually, there were 2 queues, apparently. There was a queue to get in and strip off, and there was a queue of people wanting to go in and watch it happen.
Was it shut? Did they have...
No, I think there were shoppers in there, but it gives a whole new meaning to go shopping, just here for a look.
Yeah. I thought it was shut. I thought it had a big notice up saying closed for staff training and lots of naked people.
No, were they just, like, laying down? Was that the...
Yeah, all over the place.
I feel sorry for
not at random.
I feel sorry for that old blind fella who plays the organ outside. Missing out a little treat, not knowing. It could have been the best day of his life. He could have accidentally stumbled. Oh.
Oh, dear.
Just browsing.
Just browsing.
Have you ever... Are you embarrassed by nudity, or have you...
Have you seen Nick in the Nude?
Yeah. No, I'm not embarrassed. People around me are embarrassed. Particularly in libraries. Can I tell you a true story? I've just spent a week in Reykjavik, and they've got a place out there called the Blue Lagoon, like a spa centre. And, you know, they've got these spa showers that you have to have. And I'm there, and there's this Icelandic bloke stood next to me, and he just went, nice foreskin. And I said, well, thanks a lot. He looked at me, he went, no, I said, it's nice foreskin.
There are rumours that Jack Straw's eyes are painted on his glasses.
Back with Iraq then, unfortunately, some American troops have taken the campaign to win the hearts and minds of the Iraqi people, literally, and separated some Iraqis from their cerebral and cardiovascular organs. The other major issue of controversy is, of course, with the war being over, apparently. The rolling news coverage was often criticised for its inaccuracy, in much the same way as was the American bombing campaign, or indeed the impressions on Double Take. To discuss the coverage, I'm very pleased to be joined by our special guest, former wounded reporter and Hamilton trouncer, Martin Bell. Martin, very pleased to see you in your white suit. Do you avoid buffets with red wine?
I don't. Red wine and I don't are not connected.
OK, good. Anyway, I don't want to trivialise the issues like I just have done there. What's your sort of take on the rolling news coverage?
Well, there are two issues here. One is the dumbing down of news. It's happened in the mainstream. Everybody can see it. Rolling news is another problem, and you saw it during the war. It's very feverish. It's very excitable. And there was a time when a series of false reports were run as reports. So there was a big graphic which said breaking news.
Breaking news,
just breaking rumour is all it was. Qasr had fallen, great popular uprising in Basra, weapons of mass destruction found, Tariq Aziz had defected. They were all great stories, except none of them was true.
At that point?
At that point.
Yes.
Well, I think there is the theory that you're never wrong for long, isn't that right?
That's right, yes. It would have been good, though, if after it said breaking news, it then came on saying, don't believe this.
Yeah, but the point about all these was, if they had been true, they greatly favoured the Allied cause and generated a sense of momentum.
Why do you think that is, then? Do you think the whole business of embedding reporters with troops has worked, or has it just led to a sort of lack of objectivity?
I was very suspicious when I first heard about it. I was myself embedded 12 years ago in the previous Gulf War.
How could they disguise you in that white suit? Was it a war in Antarctica?
It was because of their experience when it was over. I had rather blistered hands and was a kind of a quasi-soldier. I said, next war I'm going as a civilian. I had a couple of white suits.
Yeah.
It was a very dangerous one. It's a superstition thing. It kept me alive.
Could explain why you get shot, though.
No, on the contrary. I was wounded so lightly that it just shows that it worked, you see.
All right.
You got shot in the Balkans, didn't you?
I did get shot in the Balkans, yes.
Can I ask, at what point, John Simpson got injured in this war, can I ask, at what point after you got injured do you start to think it could be an earner?
Well, I think that John, who is a terrific reporter, should give it up. I think that you saw the blood on the lens.
The Americans tried to help him give it up.
Yeah, I mean, there comes a time, and I hope he does. And the next war he can do something of what I did on this war. I covered this last war by joining Kirsty Young on her ledge on Channel 5. Very agreeable way to spend the time.
But hang on, isn't this making reporters stand up in front of their desks? Isn't that another attempt to sort of trivialise and glamorise the news? I don't know why they make them all stand up, given that half of them have been shot in the leg.
No, I think where it gets serious is where you have so much news these days is what I call rooftop television.
Yes.
It's the boys and the girls standing on the rooftop exchanging rumour and speculation with each other at enormous cost, miles and miles and miles away
Well,
from
exactly. I mean, one thing that we got a lot of in this war was 24-hour footage of rooftops and skylines of Baghdad. The implication being that if you tuned in, you might just see something get blown up. And I sort of think the next stage would to introduce a bit more of an interactive element, so that you might get several rooftops of Baghdad or the area of conflict, and then you can vote as to which one gets blown up.
Do you not think there were just too many correspondents out there, though?
Oh, it's mad. It's completely bonkers. When NATO went into...
Which you're not.
It's not for me to judge. But when NATO went into Kosovo, they were accompanied or followed by 2,754 journalists. Completely mad. There were 1,700 sitting in Kuwait this time, unable to get access. The whole thing's just...
Maybe journalists should form their own regiment.
Yeah.
And just fight journalists from other newspapers. And soldiers can take the photographs.
Trevor McDonald will be talking to a correspondent, and he'd thank the correspondent. We now cross to another correspondent, and he's 5 yards from the bloke.
Yeah. Well, I saw Bill Neely crashing through the doors of Saddam's Basra palace, which makes him sound very show-busy and Las Vegas-y. And he was in full combat gear. But as he got into Saddam's palace, he handed over to the presenter, who was wearing a suit. What's all that about? We want to show you, actually, because of what a lot of what you see on the television is the sort of the edited footage. And it's just an interesting indication of how we go about getting our footage of, for example, the British winning the hearts and minds of the Iraqi people. By driving around in tanks with ice cream noises coming out of them. We came across this unedited footage coming over the satellite. This is absolutely genuine. It's quite difficult to hear at the start, so we've subtitled it, but we haven't tampered with it, we haven't changed anything. This gives us an interesting insight about how one of our friendly British troops tried to coax a smile out of a one-legged boy.
Happy? Yeah, right.
smile. Keep a smile. Big smile. Smile. Camera. Big smile. Like this. Smile. That's it. Show them the teeth. Smile. 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 Turn. Yeah. Yeah. Usually he's going to take his teeth out. Hey!
OK, we were going to play out tonight with a topical calypso, but some American soldiers confiscated our steel drums on the grounds they might contain something suspicious inside. So instead, we're going to end with Graham, our topical balloonist. Graham has the most up-to-date balloons in the world, so what rubber news shapes have you got tonight, Graham?
Well, good evening. This sculpture needs no introduction. It's obviously George Galloway. And otherwise known as Gorgeous Gorge. Ah, the moustache. I thought you'd ask that. Well, we'll just finish him off for you because the moustache goes on like this. And look at that.
Oh, Madame Tussauds.
Is uncanny. You'd think he was here in the studio, wouldn't you, eh? Now, Mr. Galloway has an apt name because he will be done fairly soon for treason. So it's goodbye from Gorgeous George, and it's a goodbye from me. Bye, George.
Do you do that at children's parties? Well, I'd like to thank my guests, Martin Bell, Nick Wilty, Dominic Holland. We'll just leave you with the news that David Beckham has in fact signed to Real Madrid, although he's signed the wrong form and has signed up to join the real IRA. Which means that every time he plays for England, he will be kneecapped. Join us at the same time tomorrow. Good night.